Welcome to the Rewards Master. Today I want to talk about the conflict, if you will, between being on Team Airline and Team Hotel. In this game, we love elevated value. We love to fly business class, first class, and just have that elevated, crazy good experience. We love to stay in the Conrad or the Ritz-Carlton or the Park Hyatt and enjoy those crazy redemptions when it comes to high-level hotels. But sometimes it's hard to do both. And that's what this video is about today, is the conflict between being on Team Hotel or Team Airline. So let's look at it together. Please hit the like and subscribe button as we examine it. I think everybody in the points and miles hobby loves to fly business class and first class, loves to be up there and get a special menu with fancy choices and having a waiter more than just simply a flight attendant and having someone give you pajamas and make it all up for you. That is just kind of an amazing experience. But then to stay in a Waldorf Astoria or a Park Hyatt and be treated because of your status with the hotel to a suite upgrade that has maybe your own in-room pool and perhaps a great big sauna tub, and you get access to the lounge with free food and free drinks and all of that. It's just an amazing experience. The problem is that if you're all in on one, sometimes it makes it hard to be all in on the other. And I found this out. I have top level status with at least one hotel chain and pretty high level status with a couple of others. And I love it. And I also have free night certificates with 4 different hotel chains. And so I've been all in on the hotel part, but I've been all in on the airline redemption aspect of the points and miles hobby as well, because I try to fly business and first class, and I try to get the best deals for it. In other words, I don't want to pay 200,000 points for a business class redemption. I want to pay 45,000 points. And so I found that it's difficult to be all about both of those things. In other words, I usually can't make it happen where I fly to a specific destination at a specific date to stay in the very best hotel redemption and get the most maximum value out of my free night certificate, and also get there with the cheapest, best, highest level business class redemption. I usually can't make both those things work. It's almost like you got to choose one or the other. And these are some of the reasons why I think that's true. First of all, you get the best deals with flights if you're flexible, extremely flexible on dates and destinations. So that means if you want to get 45,000 point redemptions on Alaska miles to be able to fly to Europe, you got to go when you find those redemptions. You can't go when they have award availability at standard availability to use your free night certificate with Hilton. You got to go when Alaska has availability. And those two things often don't match up. So that flexibility that's necessary to get the highest level point redemption with your airline points is going to work against you in getting the best redemption sometimes with your hotel points. It just is. I've seen it happen over and over and over in my own travel experience. And that's because the deals often don't match up. In other words, you might find a really good redemption deal on a hotel or a great redemption night somewhere, but you can't find a good flight there. Or if you find a good flight there, you can't find availability or whatever it may be with the hotel that you want to stay at. So getting it all to work doesn't seem to work. So you've got to choose. Would I prefer to fly in the business first class cabin, or would I prefer to stay in the hotel that I want? Because to be able to get both can happen, but it's like a unicorn deal. I mean, it just doesn't happen very often. The other problem is that to get the top deal with both can be very spendy with points. In other words, if you want to do both an expensive, wonderful hotel, like say a Hilton redemption of 5 nights so you get the 5th night free, they may be 100,000 points a night. Well, that's going to cost you 400,000 Hilton points. And then if you want to get there in business or first class, you might be paying 70,000 Aero Canada points each way. So you're going to be spending, what's that, 70, 140, 280,000 Air Canada flights points. So here you've got a redemption that's going to cost you well over 500,000 points if you're prioritizing both. And that can be very expensive. Where you could have just spent the 400,000 on this, done cheap economy on flights, or you could do the great flight experience and bought a less expensive hotel, maybe with cash. So it can be very expensive if you don't have just lots and lots of points hoarded away. The other thing that has kind of impacted me is that my free night certificates, particularly my Hilton free night certificates, since they're uncapped for any standard award night, they impose what I would call an oppression upon me to try to get the very best deal possible. In other words, I've gotten to where I don't like to use them on a $500 hotel night. I want to use them on an $800 or $1,000 or a $1,200 hotel night. The problem is that those are in places it's really hard for me to get to and to fly to, and you wouldn't want to stay just one night, like the Maldives or Bora Bora or something like that. And to fly to those places is much more expensive. So the thing is that the emphasis on getting the best redemption on my free night certificates makes it hard because that just doesn't line up with the best places to get great redemptions on my flights. And that kind of dovetails into the last thing that kind of strikes me about this. And that is the most aspirational, best reward deals when it comes to free night certificates and points on hotels are usually in extremely remote locations. So places like Bora Bora and the Maldives. I mean, they're places where, yes, you want to go, and it's an aspirational honeymoon type weekend, anniversary type weekend, but there aren't a lot of flight redemptions there. And even when you get there, you might have to take a $200 another flight to be able to get to the specific island you're on, stuff like that. So if a person's wanting to do those kind of vacations, it seems like they got to focus primarily on the hotel and then just piece together what they can on the flights and expect to have to pay out of pocket some, especially for that little additional flight at the end. So that's really where my mind was going with this. I know I'm just kind of talking all over the place on it, but I have found this to be true in my own travel experience, that I can't really focus totally on both. Now, if you were to say a 1 to 10 scale, sometimes I can get 9s and 10s on my flights and still get 5s and 6s on my hotels, or I can get a 9 or a 10, just an awesome hotel redemption, and still get, decent, maybe premium economy or like less desirable business class. But to be able to max out both of them, I have not found to be possible. Maybe you have. And if you have found ways to do that, please put that down in the comments below, because I'm all open to it. I want to be able to do that. I just have trouble. It seems like you got to be more on team flight or team hotel. Which team, if you had to choose, are you on? Are you team flight or are you team hotel? Put that down below as well. Please consider my channel membership, just $2.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. And I have special release videos for members only. I early release my videos, lots of stuff like that. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you here next time.